Faculty, invited guests, and graduates, please be seated. The University of Washington acknowledges the Coast Salish peoples of this land, the land which touches the shared waters of all tribes and bands within the Suquamish, Tulalip, and Muckleshoot nations. Good afternoon. I'm Chelsea Wood. I'm the Associate Director of the School of Aquatic and Fishery Sciences, or SAFS, as we like to call it. It is my exceptional honor and privilege to welcome you to our school today. And it's an even greater honor and privilege to preside over the commencement to celebrate the 2024 graduating class of the School of Aquatic and Fishery Sciences. If you've checked your program, you might notice that I'm not Tim Essington, the director of SAFS. Tim is recovering from surgery, and he is deeply disappointed to miss the opportunity to congratulate you all in person, but please know that he is beaming with pride and sending his congratulations from afar. To be sure, today is about our graduates, to honor and celebrate their many, many accomplishments, but today is also about acknowledging and showing gratitude to all the people who help our graduates get to where they are today. Success in any academic program, whether it's undergraduate or graduate, takes resilience, the ability to bounce back from setbacks and to learn from them. And no one is born with resilience. It's something that you develop and cultivate and nurture over years and maybe even decades. Even then, it's often not enough. Everyone's resilience wears thin sometimes. And at some point, you need the support of family, friends, loved ones in order to keep putting one foot in front of the next. Some of you might also be quick to remind me that resilience doesn't pay the tuition bill. And all of that is to say that behind every graduate is a supporting network of people, people who form a safety net to catch them when they fall, to bounce them back to where they need to be. And so in recognition of the village of people who stand behind each one of our graduates, let us turn our attention to the audience for a moment. I'm going to call out some of the categories of people who stand behind our graduates and support them. And if it sounds like you, I want you to erupt into thunderous applause. Hooting, hollering, whistling, foghorns, it's all in play, whatever you got to do. So let's start with the parents and grandparents of our graduates. Aunts and uncles. There we go. Thanks, Aunt. Cousins, nieces, nephews. Siblings. Oh, boy. Man, it's always the siblings. Spouses, significant others. Children. Woo! Friends. Yeah! Now, let us use that same thunderous applause in our first of many rounds for our 2024 graduating class. Thank you, guys. Now that we're warmed up, it's my pleasure to hand over the podium to Professor Maya Tolstoy, the Maggie Walker Dean of the University of Washington's College of the Environment. Welcome, Dean Tolstoy.
Thank you, Chelsea, and hello. Welcome to all of you, class of 2024, and all your fabulous supporters that help get you here and keep you here. It is my distinct honor to be among the first to congratulate you on your graduation from the University of Washington. This is a momentous accomplishment, and it's truly an honor to be part of the College of the Environment community alongside graduates as brilliant, inquisitive, and forward-thinking as yourselves. Thank you for allowing me to be part of this special occasion. We're here today to celebrate the next step in your lives and the next step in your journey as fisheries scientists, thinkers, and citizens of the world. I know that this step can be daunting. Whatever path you're planning to pursue, whether it's further exploration of your academic discipline or making the first moves of your professional career, this will be a time of great change in your life. But I have had the privilege of witnessing the incredible work that you do, and I am certain that you will navigate this change with the same thoughtful determination with which you have navigated your time at the College of the Environment. Whether it was the first midterm in your first introductory course, or a bout of writer's block in the middle of a final paper, or something you couldn't possibly have foreseen, you have all overcome countless hurdles, large and small, and the past few years have been fraught with more challenges than most. Yet time and again, you have risen to meet those challenges, to turn them into opportunities to learn and grow, and to demonstrate bravery, kindness, and perseverance in your work and as members of this community. These are qualities that I am certain will serve you well for the rest of your lives, because we're at a critical juncture in the history of life on this planet. Tackling the environmental crises we face will ask much of you in the decades to come. I am often torn when people say that your generation represents the greatest hope to finally address these crises. On one level, that feels obviously true to me. I am endlessly impressed by the passion, energy, and nuanced thinking that you and your generation bring not only to the movement for a more livable planet, but to movements for justice and equity as well. I also feel that it is unfair to shoulder you with such staggering burdens, to imply that the rest of us have tried and failed, and that these are somehow your problems and your problems alone. I want you to know that you are not alone. You are part of this community, and whether your path leads you to study our planet further and its ecosystems, to craft policies that will build a sustainable world, or to develop novel solutions that will save ecosystems and lives, we will always have your back. Every single one of us is in this together. And so it is in that spirit that I'm also delighted to share the gift with which the College of the Environment will be honoring the efforts, talents, and contribution of your graduating class. Based on the recommendation of our Student Advisory Council and a vote by you, our graduating students, the college will be partnering with the Campus Sustainability Fund to help fund the Wapato Pond project for the UW Farm. For any of you who haven't had the pleasure of visiting or volunteering, the UW Farm is a student-powered urban farm that provides locally grown produce to UW and the greater community through local partners and the UW Food Pantry. This gift will help fund the development of the Wapato Pond, a new growing space for cultivation of aquatic, freshwater indigenous food crops such as Wapato, increasing the farm's food production and diversity of produce. We are thrilled to be a part of this project and to continue to support the UW Farm and their mission to become a campus center for urban agriculture and sustainability. Now, I know there are several more people here waiting patiently for their own opportunities to tell you how wonderful you are, which you are. So I'm going to close with a few lessons I hope you will remember from your time here at UW. Remember to stay curious and embrace new experiences, even when it feels easier to stick with what you already know. Comfort zones are not set in stone. Remember that failure is not just impermanent, but is in fact an essential component of success, and that perseverance is a virtue. Remember that the only constant in life is change, and that even when things feel grim, it is prudent to hope. And remember that you have what it takes to achieve anything you set your mind to. You are strong, you are valued, and you are part of a community that wants nothing but the best for you. I look forward to hearing about each and every one of your adventures in the years to come. Congratulations, class of 2024.
Thank you, Dean Tolstoy. Next up, our Faculty Merit Awards. These awards recognize students in our bachelor's, master's, and doctoral programs who distinguish themselves with exceptional academic achievement, scholarship, and service. The awards are funded directly by SAFS faculty, and nominations can come only from SAFS faculty, and so naturally we deem these the most prestigious awards that a SAFS student can earn. This year's undergraduate Faculty Merit Award winner is Kat Rogers. Kat's nominators noted that Kat does research tasks twice as fast as any other student, often leaving us with blank stares, wondering what we will have them do next. They are the type of student that SAFS should be proud of. Kat is a one-of-a-kind student, is an academic superstar, and is an absolute gem to have around SAFS. Kat Rogers, please come up here and receive your Faculty Merit Award. This year's master's level Faculty Merit Award winners are Nicole Duran and Gisela Peraza. Nicole's nominator noted that ever since joining my lab group in the fall of 2021, Nicole has demonstrated levels of intellect, independence, and professionalism rarely seen in an individual this early in their scientific career. At every opportunity, she has shown the ability and desire to do great work and to help others along the way. I feel a great sense of hope and relief knowing that Nicole will one day be a leader in the field. Nicole Duran, please rise and receive your Faculty Merit Award. Next up is Gisela Peraza. Gisela's nominator stated, since her start at the University of Washington, Gisela has expanded her quantitative toolbox, developed her critical thinking and scientific writing skills, participated in marine renewable energy community events, published the first results chapter from her thesis, and taken on leadership roles within the SAFS community. Gisela is now being recognized as a contributor to this field and has been invited to present her project results at international conferences. Gisela, please come up and I'll give you your award. Okay, this year we have 3 award winners at the PhD level, and I'll ask our 3 winners to gather in the wings so that they're ready to come up and receive their awards. In alphabetical order, they are Dr. Jeremy Axworthy, Dr. Marta Gomez-Buckley, and Dr. Marie Zahn. Starting with Jeremy. Jeremy's nominator gushed, he is a true leader who can inspire others and is deeply passionate about protecting marine ecosystems and the communities that depend on them. Jeremy's achievements make him an exemplary candidate for recognition, embodying the values of excellence, innovation, and service that the SAFS Faculty Merit Award seeks to honor. And I'll note, Jeremy is actually in an elite group of 2-time winners of the Faculty Merit Award, because he also received the award back in 2017 when he earned his bachelor's from SAFS. Jeremy, please come up and receive your Faculty Merit Award. Next up, Dr. Marta Gomez-Buckley. Marta's nominator noted 3 things. Marta has been remarkably successful with getting funding for her PhD work. She's organized and funded 3 major research expeditions to Tonga to conduct fish surveys for her dissertation, resulting in the collection of thousands of valuable specimens now deposited in the UW Fish Collection. Marta has also been a vital member of the SAFS community. Marta, please come and receive your Faculty Merit Award. and Marie Zahn. Marie's nominator wrote, "Marie ranks in the top tier of PhD students I have known. I have written letters for hundreds of students. I have encountered some truly impressive students. Marie is special." In 4 years of graduate school, she wrote 4 peer-reviewed manuscripts, and Marie is passionate about outreach and education, especially supporting women and minority groups in STEM. Marie Zahn's Faculty Merit Award will be handed to her at a later time, but let's give her a round of applause right now. Okay, now you get to hear from some of the real stars of the show. First up, it is my great pleasure to invite Jessica Pineda to speak on behalf of the undergraduates. Welcome, Jessica.
Hi there, I'm Jessica. Thank you everybody for coming here to support your SAFS students. I'm a student in fishery sciences, oceanography, and marine biology. You might think I'm like a really smart, stellar student. Yes, and I'm actually just very indecisive. So I chose, instead of just one major where I would get my shoes wet, I chose all 3 that the college had to offer. So I transferred here in 2021, and like most of us graduating here today, I came here with an avid desire to have hands-on and outdoor learning and compact then to as much time into my undergrad here as I could. And since then, I've had tons of unique experiences that are really quite special to studying in a place like SAFS. I've learned what the inside of sharks smell like in the parasite ecology course. I helped survey Lake Washington during freezing cold 2 a.m. snorkeling sessions with the wet lab here. And then, of course, I've had numerous opportunities of active field learning here with professional puddle splashers, as I like to call them, our faculty, that we have here in the college. And needless to say, I got exactly what I asked for and then some by choosing to come here to SAFS. I attribute most of my ability to be here today to the efforts of my family. They're up there in the back. My parents who immigrated here from Mexico, and then also my 2 older brothers. Like the parents of many other first-generation students, they made great sacrifices that allowed me to choose to be here today. And to them and to anybody else who's here as a mentor, a friend, and family to our graduates, I want to thank you all. So we, ourselves who are graduating here, I guess we can call ourselves scientists. We've braved the forces of nature to get through our degrees, working in the rain and the snow and the heat, racing against the tides, and then squeezing as much work as we can into every hour of daylight that we have just to run our experiments and collect data. And look, it's all paid off, figuratively, of course. SAFS has such a wide breadth of scientific specialties, from geneticists and ecologists and biologists, and apparently some people who make models on computers, I think. But we all share a common interest in exploring our natural world, and we really want to make sense of it, and ultimately that's why we're here. I want to leave you with the thought that you don't have to have a PhD or a master's or a bachelor's to be able to be a part of science and explore the natural world. Anybody in this room can be a part of science. You just have to go out there and get your shoes wet. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. And now, on behalf of the graduate students, please welcome up to the podium Dr. Marta Gomez-Buckley.
What an exciting moment for me, for all of us. It feels right. It feels good, right? I thank you, Chelsea, and thank you, staff, faculty, for the Merit Award and for allowing me or making me be the speaker, the graduate speaker tonight. I'm truly honored. We all have been in a journey to get here, right? It has only taken me about 30 years to walk to this podium and to fulfill my life academic goal of a PhD. The path that you may face moving on from this moment may be very diverse if your goal is to move on for the degree you have now, from the degree you have now. Perhaps my story will illustrate that the path to an advanced degree does not always have to be linear. Back in the Canary Islands, where I grew up and I got my undergraduate degree in marine sciences, my goal was to get my PhD before I was 30. I don't think I got that. But the flame, that goal, was set aside for a while to have many, many exciting adventures. Meeting my supportive husband, Ray, working as a research biologist, raising our fantastic daughter, Adriana, somewhere here, receiving a master's degree from here, SAFS, in marine ecology, and receiving a secondary degree, teaching certificate in from the University of Tacoma, and teaching high school sciences and Spanish for 8 years. Then a fateful day in a diving adventure in Palau under palm tree, my husband Ray asked me, "What do you want to do now that our daughter is an astronomy student and we can be irresponsible again?" It took me less than a second, a PhD. I am a non-traditional student. I had lots of trepidation coming back to school after many, many years away from academia. But the encouragement of my family, I just said it right, and I started my adventure. I think that the stars were all aligned right, because when I was looking for a lab and an advisor here at the school, Professor Tornabene had just been hired as a new faculty, and he was looking for graduate students. Luke welcomed me into his lab, the newly created lab, Fish Systematics and Biodiversity Lab. I couldn't be more excited to be his first pancake. And to top it all, the reception that I got from SAFS was phenomenal. Our academic journey, in your academic journey, don't pass up opportunities to be teaching assistants. When I look back at all the years here at SAFS, the most memorable experience I can carry with me, besides diving in the tropics for my research, was interacting with the students while teaching labs or going on field trips. This was a tremendous personal growth opportunity for me, and it would be for you too. All the hard work that teaching requires gets overshadowed when you see the students be successful. I personally love some comments of some of my students that said I had good mother vibes. For those of us about to receive a PhD, thank you, Chelsea, for calling us doctors already. We have the SAFS faculty and our advisors as examples of where our career paths may take us. I'm a marine ecologist, but now I know, thanks to Luke, the contributions I can make in the fields of fish systematics and genetics. These fields are going to guide where I go from here. For my later years, though, I have an example here, Professor Frida Taub, who has been an emerita faculty for 23 years and still has an active research lab and supports and mentors undergraduate students. Like Frida, my friend and colleague, I want to fail at retirement. I'm very proud to be part of SAFS. We have a very tight and supported community. And I admire all the efforts that are done in diversity, equity, and inclusion. Like in ecological terms, diversity equates to resilience. Having a diverse student body and staff and faculty will make our communal experiences richer and efforts to improve academic outcomes the more efficient. Please continue that path. And speaking of paths and journeys, I have successfully completed this journey. We all have. My journey is far from over. What about yours? Thank you.
Thank you, Marta. And now for our main event, the presentation of the 2024 graduating class. I'm going to ask all Bachelor of Science graduates to please rise and organize yourselves on the south stairwell on this side in the order that is on your cards. While you do that, you can start doing that right now. While you do that, I'm going to invite Professor Chris Anderson and Professor Sarah Converse to introduce the recipients of the Bachelor of Science degree in Aquatic and Fishery Sciences. Oh, master's and PhD students, you may also organize yourselves on the south stairwell. Okay, and now over to Chris and Sarah.
Please come on down. Let's see. Uh-oh.
They're told to wait to read their names.
Huh?
They're told to wait there until
Oh, okay. Gotcha. No, I'm sorry. Okay. Keegan Bach, who studied... Yes! He studied peer exchange of pet aquatic organisms in the United States under the guidance of Dr. Julian Olden. Next, Emma Bell. He studied the morphological constraints on the shrimp goby mutualism under Dr. Luke Tornabene. Next we have Tyler Cordova, who studied the optimization of fisheries surveys given constrained resources under Dr. Andre Punt. Next, Haley Dockery. Studied the potential effects of climate change on Pacific oysters under Dr. Jackie Padilla-Gamino. Next, Baxter Gibbons. Determining the origins of sea turtles stranded in South Africa with Dr. Lawrence Hauser. Next, Kip Howell. Plastic beach, the effects of plastic leachates on sea anemones with Dr. Jackie Padilla-Camino. William Lay. A quantitative examination of the extent of cohort dominance in sympatric Alaskan salmonids with Dr. Daniel Schindler. Jessica Pineda. Morphological characterization of non-indigenous Palamon macrodactylus in the Salish Sea with P. Sean McDonald and Dr. Emily Grayson. All right. Yahaira Ponce Moran. And the toxicity of Cupressus nucatensis, or yellow cedar, under volatile leachates with Frida Tubb. Catherine Bond Rogers. The systematics of the cocoa damselfish with Luke Tornabene. Christian Swift. Enhancing early warning systems for domoic acid toxicity in Washington State shellfish fisheries with Vera Trainer. Eric Wong. looked at COVID impact on Bristol Bay sockeye salmon pricing under Chris Anderson.
And now our finishing graduate students, Nicole Duran. Exploring culturally meaningful definitions of justice and resilience through the lens of sovereign indigenous foodways. Advisor, Dr. Mark Sherrill. Emily Jameson. Lakeshore Development and Lake Food Web Structure in the Puget Sound Lowlands with Advisor, Dr. Julian Olden. Liam Pendleton. Interactions of pigeon guillemots and rhinoceros auklets with the marine environment. Advisor, Dr. Sarah Converse. Gisela Peraza. Probabilistic, empirical, and agent-based and counter-impact models for fish and tidal turbine interactions. Advisor, Dr. John Horn. Emily Selinger. Characterizing and forecasting fish recruitment in a changing world. Advisor, Dr. Andre Punt. Kaylee Stone. Hatch timing, growth, and condition of juvenile Arctic cod in a warming Arctic. Insights into overwinter survival strategies. Advisor, Dr. Tim Essington. Now we'll be moving on to our PhD recipients. So if the person who will be cutting them will come forward as we read their name. Dr. Jeremy Axworthy. Climate change and microplastics, their impacts and interactions with corals and coral reefs. Advisor, Dr. Jacqueline Padilla Camino. Dr. Eileen Bates. Impacts of climate change and habitat on the health and recovery of Salish Sea shellfish. Advisor, Dr. Jacqueline Padilla Gamino. Dr. Marta Gomez Buckley. Cryptobenthic reef fishes, resolving critical gaps in taxonomy, sampling techniques, and phylogenies. Advisor, Dr. Luke Tornabene. Dr. Melissa Kriegbaum Merscher. The economic dynamics of gear choice in U.S. West Coast sablefish fisheries. Advisor, Dr. Chris Anderson. Dr. Jessica Lindsay. Ringed seal layer habitat, emergence timing, and reproductive ecology in relation to snow characteristics in a changing Arctic. Advisor, Dr. Kristen Lydra. Dr. Ann Polyakov. Fungi, forests, and fish, the role of fungi in salmon nutrient cycling. Advisor, Dr. Andrew Birdall. And Dr. Brielle Corta Thompson.
Brielle studied quantitative modeling tools for invasive species management decisions with Dr. Sarah Converse and Dr. Julie Knowlton.
Okay, one last round of applause for all of our graduates. We have now reached our final act. I am so thrilled to introduce Dr. James Wilder Orr to give our keynote address. But first I want to say a couple things about Jay. Let me begin by saying I'm just going to do a little bit of summarization here because Jay's CV is 35 pages long, which is to say he's accomplished a great deal in his career. Jay is an alumnus of our school, having received his PhD in fisheries in 1995. He's been an active affiliate professor of SAFS for many years, as well as an affiliate curator at the Burke Museum of Natural History and Culture. He's mentored countless undergraduate capstone students and sat on many graduate student committees. He recently retired as a research fisheries biologist at the Alaska Fisheries Science Center, where he was a conduit linking NOAA fisheries to SAFS, notably through his collaboration with the UW Fish Collection. He has named and described over 30 new species, and he's authored 4 books, and he's even had 4 species named after him, which is a great honor bestowed by colleagues in a gesture of respect. And now I'm going to speak some Latin, so please forgive me. The first species is Oryctes longimanus. There's Chiropractus ori, Castanobuccinum ori, and Stellodorix James ori. And finally, as if that weren't enough, in 2022, Jay received the NOAA Distinguished Career Award. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Jay Orr.
Well, thank you, Chelsea, for that great introduction. But I have to say, sorry, there's got to be one more round of congratulations, graduates. If not a couple more. But I'm personally and deeply honored to have been invited to help celebrate your accomplishments in graduating from the University of Washington, one of the premier universities in the world, and especially from graduating from the world's leader in aquatic and fishery science at SAFS. I'm proud to be standing here to be sharing this exciting time with your families and friends. As I thought about what I'd say today, I realized I didn't really make the connection between graduation and commencement before, even though I've been through 3 of them now. At my own graduation for my PhD, my father said, "Now you have the terminal degree. You have the terminal degree." And I said, wait a minute. I understood what he meant. But I thought, it's not a termination. This is a new career, new research, new studies, a new beginning. So, aha, a commencement, a new beginning. As I talk about what's sort of coming up, I'll speak of opportunities, challenges, and the joys of your coming career path. But as you move forward from this beginning, persevere in pursuing your goals. Be open to new opportunities, even those you really hadn't expected or maybe didn't think you wanted. Remember to take the opportunities when they're presented to you because they may not come around again. Your degree has provided you a springboard into the broad horizon of new possibilities. I expect that a few of you found the road here straight and narrow, just like a laser, and I suspect most of you found it a more crooked road, kind of like Marta's, but maybe in smaller doses. Sometimes you're following a curving path, and sometimes you've come to decision points, a fork in the road. My message is that, paraphrasing Yogi Berra, the famous Yankee catcher, when you come to a fork in the road, don't just pick it up, seize the fork. Never know what's down there unless you take that opportunity. Don't stand still. Keep moving forward. You'll find challenges that may seem insurmountable at the time, but keep going. Don't be discouraged. Remember, too, that you don't have to go it alone. Count on the support of your families and friends, and obviously those here. Look for those who share your outlook on life, those who inspire you, and those who have met the challenges and pushed ahead. Obviously, I don't have to remind you that forces out of your control may also change your life in ways you can never imagine. I realized as I was thinking about what I would say today is that this is the undergraduate class that graduated in the heat of the pandemic. And many of you even missed your high school celebration for graduations. And then you had to suffer through a summer of lockdown, then entered UW as a freshman class, and endured online coursework and Zooming for months after that. And you graduate students had to do your research and get all that coursework done and out of the way. And I honestly don't know how you did it. But if you can get over that obstacle, what else will you be able to do? Nothing can stop you. And for that, I say another congratulations. And looking at what you've already had to deal with, I hope that's the most serious obstacle you have to overcome. Of course, you'll continue to have challenges along your own paths, and I encourage you to seek those out. Now, I'll share with you a few of the twists and turns of my own personal journey by way of example. I'll start early. By 6th grade, I knew I wanted to be an ichthyologist and study fish. Not only that, but I knew I wanted to study the reproductive behavior of a single species of an African fish. Pretty bold, eh? Clearly, I didn't do that. I went in other directions down my crooked road. But everyone I described that resolution to later said, I must have gone straight on to be an ichthyologist. Well, not exactly, but what that idea and the drive and desire did for me as a child was to tell me that there are questions out there that don't yet have answers. And I could be one that asked those questions and actually could find those answers. I could design research that I wanted to do. So on I went, stumbling through biology courses up through high school, and decided to be an undergraduate at a small liberal arts college outside Chicago because of the strength of its biology program. I paid for it with an Army ROTC scholarship that required me to spend 4 years on active duty after graduation. As I neared graduation, I had the opportunity to defer, and so I could finish graduate school, which I knew I wanted to do before I went on active duty. So I went to my academic advisor and asked his opinion. And my advisor gave me some of the most important advice I've had in my lifetime. He said, persevere. He said to see the military service as a service opportunity and look forward to developing maturity and discipline. In any case, he said, persevere. Perseverance was a quality of the most successful scientist he knew. So, into the Army I went as a commissioned second lieutenant in my chosen branch, the Chemical Corps, the Army's scientific branch. Naively, I thought the Army would assign me to a lab studying chemical defense, doing research in chemical defense. When I received my assignment, I was assigned to the infantry, to the 9th Infantry Division right down the road. Well, I developed some maturity, a lot of discipline that has carried me through life. And I'm intensely proud of my active duty and reserve service. But I also knew that the military career was not for me. It was for stronger people than me, like my father and brother. It was time for me to choose the fork that led on to grad school. Whereupon, a major failure met me, and I'm glad failure is not permanent, Dean. and I went to the other fork. When I applied for the master's program at the UW School of Fisheries back in 1984, I was rejected. In hindsight, I realized it was for a good reason. My objectives were unclear and my goals were amorphous. I could run a chemical company in the Army, but I really didn't understand the world of fisheries and aquaculture. So I picked up that other fork and moved on to the Auburn University's Department of Fisheries and Allied Aquaculture, mainly because of their warm water aquaculture program. Still thinking fish, 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 got to study fish. Well, fortunately, I spent my first month there on the experimental fish farms in the hot August southern Alabama sun. And I realized this is not for me. But equally fortunately, I think, my first course at Auburn was ichthyology under a master. And I knew immediately where I belonged. For my master's, I studied the biology and life histories of two populations of the streamfish. Studying these beautiful fish, I recognized that there were taxonomic problems there that needed to be resolved before basic biological questions could be answered. I became interested in systematic taxonomy. I found really broad differences between these two populations, and there was a suspicion that they were two different species, but this was based on a single red spot in mature spawning males. Juveniles and females were indistinguishable, which was later confirmed by a new tool used in species taxonomy, genetic analysis. At that time, in the early 80s, analyzing species genetics entailed fairly complex sampling of tissues and hours of bench work in the lab. Now, deeper into my career, genetic analysis became much easier and widespread. Simple and inexpensive DNA sequencing was just theoretical when I began in the early 80s, but now has reached the point where entire genomes can be sequenced with just a few $100s. It has provided vast amounts of data and coupled with astronomical improvements in computational power, which allowed its analysis, revolutionized my field of systematic taxonomy and evolution, as well as other fields. Maybe more importantly, the field of medicine as well. Now, even a morphologist like me can easily collect good tissue samples, and with a bit of training, produce useful genetic sequence data. Many of you had labs here where you did exactly that, I know. And fortunately for me, animals are more than just their DNA, and despite what some of my molecular friends have suggested, no one in this room, we do need whole specimens to understand the what and why of what we're analyzing. So look forward yourselves to only distantly imagined innovations ahead. No matter how many times people use the word next gen for technologies being used now in this generation, the true next-gen technologies are percolating in someone's mind right now, perhaps someone right here. You are the next generation who will be the ones to see them develop and come to fruition. Now, here at the UW for my PhD, before genetics really got into swing, I studied the evolution of the Gastriciiformes, the fish order containing over 700 species worldwide, including the tube snout, the stickleback, and pipefish. And yes, there are only 3 species in the waters around us, all along the west coast. All the rest are mainly in the tropics, where I never went. So you ask, why did I come here? Well, this is a character of this Aquatic and Sciences and Fisheries Department. The breadth of skill and knowledge is here. I was here because the world's expert in Gastriciiformes was on the faculty here, Dr. Ted Beach. But while I was here, I also took advantages of many of the opportunities, the vast opportunities here, to gain incredibly valuable experience through SAFS with Salish Sea and West Coast fishes. Also through research assistantship with our UW fish collection, I taught fisheries observers at NOAA's Alaska Fisheries Science Center here in Seattle to identify the fishes caught in commercial trawls that were conducted all along our coast, and to gain a lot more experience with the fishes and fisheries from California to Alaska. Also initiated important connections with NOAA scientists. One connection, just talking about that curving road, was with the NOAA Fisheries National Scientific Publications Office, While finishing my dissertation before graduation, I was able to begin my career at NOAA as a scientific editor, moving from temporary federal positions to a permanent position as the NOAA Professional Papers Managing Editor. While being constrained to stay in the Seattle area because of my personal crooked road, after a year in that position, I decided I needed to prepare myself to be a scientific editor for my career, rather than prepare for a career in research. So I began to search for, schedule, training, and coursework opportunities. That day of decision was a Monday in November. On a Friday of that week, my future boss called and said if I'd be interested in being an ichthyologist in the survey division at the Alaska Fishery Science Center. Absolutely yes, I must have yelled into the phone. And the timing couldn't have been better, as NOAA embraced ecosystem management and began moving away from management oriented on single species. Our surveys, our primary source of fisheries independent data, needed to improve from identifying only commercial species, and I was part of that shift in emphasis. I began my field work there on boats, conducting surveys off the coast of Washington to California, and then moved into the Gulf of Alaska. Eventually, with the rotation of surveys, I got into the Aleutian Islands, a 2,000-mile whole new world of snowy volcanic mountain islands stretching into the sea. And in the first few days of the survey, I saw several species of fishes that I couldn't identify, which challenged my ichthyological confidence. I assumed they probably were just new records for Alaska, but I collected them, and after a lot of time and work, realized these are not only new species for Alaska, these were new species to science. And that was the beginning of a career of describing many new species. Snailfishes, as well as a commercial flatfish, also found here in the Salish Sea, a couple of skates, among other projects. All of these projects were supported by the specimens and other important resources of the UW Fish Collection. And several of these projects were also collaborations with and co-authored by students, staff, and faculty of the collection, including some in this room, like Jenny, Catherine, and Luke. Thank you very much. So that was my professional road. To conclude, I'd like to offer you 3 words of general advice that I wish I'd taken earlier than I did in my own career. I encourage you to move forward with confidence, courage, and humility. Have confidence in the preparation you've received through these years of education and training. You've mastered the skills for today and have the tools to develop the skills for the future. Take courage to face and take on new challenges, opportunities, and responsibilities. I recently heard a celebrity comedian say that he never felt quite on when he was going on stage unless he had the butterflies. I say embrace the butterflies. Challenge yourself outside your comfort zone. Go where you're not entirely comfortable. That's where skills, character, and the fires that drive you are built. And be humble. Recognize that you stand on the shoulders of those who've gone before you. Some of them were giants, including some of those in this room. Even if you're the smartest person in the room, you know you are. There are always bigger rooms. Try to find someone smarter than you to collaborate with. And aside from gathering the technical expertise from others informing your collaborations, seek out the wise ones, those who will challenge your assumptions and conclusions. That was easy for me because I was surrounded by my smart, wise friends who were, without exception, a joy to collaborate with. I was able to collaborate with a wide range of students, from young undergrads to senior grad students, staff, and faculty at SAFS, as well as many colleagues at NOAA, most of whom actually graduated from SAFS. They always brought out my best, and together we created a synergy that produced better science. What kept me going throughout my career was the joy of discovery and the pleasure of these collaborations. I can't speak to your own research, but I hope you can experience that sense of discovery, innovation, and revelation, and exciting findings and ideas. Whatever route you take and the choices you make, I hope you're happy, satisfied, and productive in your professional as well as your personal life. I know this is too far in the future to see clearly, but I hope you, like me, derive enough pleasure and satisfaction in your career to continue doing what you love well into retirement. In other words, fail at retirement. So celebrate now with your families and friends, then commence and persevere. Congratulations, graduates.
All right, well, thank you so much, Jay, for that fantastic address. Also, please join me in thanking the folks who organized today's event. They are the puppeteers behind the curtain. Let's give them a little bit of the glory. Sam Scherer and Michael Martinez. Now, please join me one last time in congratulating this year's 2024 graduating class. Just one quick note before we close. Faculty and graduates are going to leave the auditorium to the tune of Pomp and Circumstance. And then we're going to have a photo session out in the lobby. And I want you to be able to snag your graduate. You will be able to. But just leave them to us for a couple of minutes in the beginning of our cocktail session. And we're going to get a couple of group photos with a professional photographer. Feel free to lurk around the edges, take photos of your own as everyone organizes themselves into groups. Or you can partake of the beverages and refreshments that we've got out in the lobby. When we're done with your graduates, we will join you for some snacks, some drinks, and a toast. Thank you for joining us today. With that, graduates, please rise. Faculty and invited guests, please rise. And you can follow me